Good afternoon, dear friends, dear followers. Thanks for joining our live broadcast. And today we are going to talk to the head of the Russian house in Syria, Nikolai Sukhov. Hello, Nikolai. Nice to see you today. As far as I know, you have been working in Syria for so many years. So please tell us about the projects of the Russian house in Damascus.
So it's not simple to describe all the projects of our Russian house in this country. In general, we can split our projects in several dimensions, like cultural programs, educational projects, also various education projects which I will tell about later. And also the humanitarian projects, which is usually a route of the frames of work of any other Russian culture, Russian cultural center or Russian house. But in Syria, the situation demands to concentrate our efforts on the humanitarian aid and humanitarian projects too. Because the first thing is to supply people, local people, the electricity, food, and good conditions for life. Then we bring cultural projects and education. We have, first of all, cultural programs like concerts, art exhibitions, art workshops, which we organize with the help of Syrian artists, Russian-speaking community, which is very big here in this country, and also inviting the Russian groups and the Russian painters to Syria during each year. We have very good experience during the last 2 years after the reopening of our Russian house, which was closed during about 7 years due to the war conditions. We also have the various education projects like courses of Russian language, and this is the biggest part of our job here. Now we have about 300 students of different ages, from 4 to 60. Most of them are certainly the students of the university age. We also have the courses of dancing, sport courses, music, piano and violin. And all these helps us, all these courses, to communicate more closer to the local society. Most of our teachers are Russians living here. Most of them are the wives of the Syrian alumni of the Soviet and Russian universities. And before war, there were about 30,000 families with Russian wives. Now it could be assessed as from 10 to 15,000. We also have 3 generations now of Russians here, beginning from the 1960s. So such a Russian-speaking environment also helps us to organize such educational and cultural programs. One of the main projects of our center, of our Russian house, is the scholarship, the organizing of the scholarships for Syrians. Last campaign we completed with the 759 scholarships. and we hope that next year it will be about 1,000. And we have a very big demand from the Syrians for the education in Russia. And also we work on the professional and even geographical orientation of Syrians, working on this dimension, on this issue, because most of them traditionally try to go to Moscow, St. Petersburg, and other big cities in the European part of Russia. At the same time, there are very good proposals from the universities or university conglomerations from Siberia and the south of Russia. And now we're prepared and started to propose to Syrian students, first of all, the presentations about Russian regions, also making accent on the educational programs in these regions.
Mm-hmm. The work of the Russian House in Damascus is quite active, and as you have already said, it holds many events, but what event, in your opinion, has become the most memorable for Syrians over the past year?
Mm-hmm. You know, the Syrian society is also different. There are different stratas, and different stratas of this society accept in different ways our activities. For the educated, well-educated, and higher rank level stratas in Syria, the top event was the tour of Sretinsky Monastery choir last September. The others remember till now the visits of military music and dance groups, which were also arranged with our defense ministry here in different cities of Syria, mostly in Damascus, of course. And also it was a great event when the Novosibirsk Siberian academic dancing song group came to Syria, to Damascus. It was about 80 artists with costumes, traditional and regional costumes. Until now, people are asking me when they will come another time. The same question. Some people, first of all, the minister of the culture of Syria asked me about the Sretinsky monastery choir. For some people, for poor people, the most memorable event was the distribution of the humanitarian aid from our Russian house. We make it regularly, at least once in 2 months. So different districts of Damascus, and also make the lists of the vulnerable families, and we distribute this how they can say food baskets. At the same time, we are working with our partners, Syrian NGOs, to distribute these food baskets and other types of aid, like generators, like solar panels, to the provinces of Syria. First of all, supplying schools and health facilities.
Not so long ago, the Russian House in Damascus began to conduct courses on first medical aid. Could you please tell us more about these courses? What age of people could attend these courses, and where do these people apply these skills in the future?
So the first aid courses is a specific issue in Syria because till now it's post-war country. And, till now there are a lot of dangers of the explosions, remainings of the explosions in the cities and outside of the cities, in the fields. Every day the news of some persons who exploded such mines, remainings of the explosions came. So we arrange with the help of our partners. There are military from Russia, there are experts from UN agencies, and sometimes there are our friends who came from Russia, the experts on the first aid and the military men, who promote this knowledge and these practical workshops to different groups of our visitors. We made such courses for youth, from the school students. We made such courses for the nurses, Syrian nurses, and also for big groups of medicine, medicals, medicine workers, yeah, in Syria. Unfortunately, it is very useful for them. We found that they don't know such things which our experts could provide to them. But now, after several courses, we hope that we got such knowledge to our partners, and we'll continue such a work.
And would it be interesting, for example, for teenagers to attend these courses? Or
Yes. It was very interesting. As I told, we made several courses for the teenagers, the school students, speaking Russian and not speaking Russian. There were different courses without interpreter and with interpreter. And also for them, it's like a game. They are very interested of such courses. At the same time, it is very useful just to save their lives and their health.
Thank you. And is there a demand for the Russian language, and how can Syrians start learning it? What conditions are created for these courses?
I have a very contradictional expression about the situation with the Russian language in Syria. From one side, there is a big demand for Russian language, as Syrians are looking for it as a tool to get a good job and to continue education and even the immigration to Russia, frankly speaking. From other side, there are poor facilities here to study Russian, except of our Russian house. But as I told, we could accept not more than 300 people. When we return to our main building, it would be maybe 500 students. The other facilities, educational facilities, are the private centers. We have also the chair of the Russian language in the Damascus University, and also about 200 state schools with the Russian language as a second foreign language. But it's a lack of teachers there. And one of the main projects of our Russian house is to re-educate and to re-educate these teachers. We made several workshops and will continue to work on this with the different groups of teachers from Homs, Dara, Sueda, of course, Damascus, providing them the new methods of teaching Russian language, explaining them the textbooks and so on and so forth. So we see the good effect of our job on this field, but it's a very long way ahead to make the level of the providing Russian language and education around Russian language in this country. Make it on the proper level.
It's no secret that many residents of Syria are interested in Russian culture, but what elements of Russian culture attract them the most? Maybe they prefer Russian music or art, maybe they are interested in Russian history.
Also, Russia is big, and the different parts of Russia are far or closer to the Middle East. You know that the Caucasus and Central Asia is the same cultural area, which is the Middle East. So there are a lot of Cherkess, so-called Cherkesses in Syria. That's why they have a good cultural relations with our North Caucasian republics, and even a lot of personal relations till now. For last 2 centuries, the part of big clans, big families was split. They immigrated to the Middle East, to Turkey, and then to Syria, and Lebanon, and even Jordan. And other parts of the same families left in Russia, Russian Empire, then Soviet Union, and now our country. So it's very close to them, such a culture. The Russian culture is not well known in Syria, but of course Syrians adore Russian folklore. As I mentioned today, that the Russian dance groups were accepted with the high success. Another thing is Russian kitchen also is popular here due to the presence of Russian wives, as I told also, as I mentioned, and through the family relations, our kitchen and our culture spread on the everyday life level. And recently, by the way, the advisor of the Syrian president opened a Russian restaurant here in Damascus with Russian food, of course. So we'll see this renaissance of the interest of Syrians to Russian culture through music, dance, and stomach.
Would it be interesting for Syrians to attend maybe events which are connected to the film showing which could be realized in your Russian house?
Oh, it's a very good question, because it's a big demand for Russian films, contemporary films, first of all, and Russian cartoon pictures also. And now we are working on the getting the rights to promote these films on Syrian TV and also in Syrian cinemas. As for Russian house, we regularly make the weeks of or days and weeks of Russian cinema. with the also we invite the local experts who graduated from Russian universities. First of all, the GITIS and GIT, the cinema university, who could explain for the Syrian audience the specific threads of Russian films from the technical side and from the content of Russian films. And I think it was a very successful experience during the last two years to make such weeks, not only in Damascus, and we also made it in Aleppo, in Homs and Tartus, the biggest cities of Syria. Also, we continue such programs. I haven't to mention that we continue such work.
Yeah, it's great. And does the Russian literature is popular among Syrian youth, or it's more popular among the adults which live in Syria?
No, you know, the global trend is not to read books. And mostly youth use internet to get some books and to read something short, unfortunately. We try our best to promote Russian literature through our social media. But I can say that here in Syria, it's a good translation movement for decades. They translated a lot of Russian romance and stories from classics to the contemporary. I was surprised finding here, for example, Lukyanenko, the fantasy, Russian fantasy, contemporary books here at the site of Dostoevsky and Chekhov, which are also popular, and even the theaters of Syria, they stage, for example, Chekhov pieces. So also controversial story about the popularization of Russian literature. As I told, first of all, the global trends prevent youth to read the books. But at the same time, these books are available in Syria in Arabic.
And could you please tell me in details what can be realized within the framework of the humanitarian actions in the Russian house?
As I told you, first of all, we provide this food aid to the poor stratas of the society. Of course, in the coordination with our military, because they bring it by military planes, cargo planes. Also, there are some Russian and Syrian NGOs which provide such an aid, and our Russian house is the main organizer of such distributions. We also collect the information about the educational and health facilities which is in need of reconstruction and equipment. So Russian organizations are bringing the health or medical equipment, and first of all the power equipment to make such facilities working.
And as I know, on the
I can say that it is very, it's not public work at all. We collect the information, we contact a lot of people. We also choose, during the last 2 years, we choose the partners with which we could trust during the distribution of the humanitarian aid, and so on and so forth. So it's a very routine but very important way of job.
Mhm. And as I know, on the 6th of July, the Russian House issued humanitarian aid from the Russian charity foundation Zakat. And could you please tell us what was the action?
First of all, this Russian Muslim foundation Zakat took part in the big delegation which brought different types of aid in June. So they left us more than 300 food baskets, because during 2 or 3 days of their stay here, it was impossible to distribute all what they brought. It was a bigger amount of aid and in different types. So last week we completed this distribution of such an aid to our partners. First of all, it was the cultural institutions of Damascus, and it was before the beginning of the Eid al-Adha, which is named the Kurban Bayram in Russia. So we provided such aid from this Muslim fund directly before the Muslim holidays, which is very appreciated by Syrians.
And does the Russian House have any plans to realize some actions in the future?
Of course. Now we are working with our partners, the Russian NGOs, on the restoration or recovery of about 30 Syrian schools in different provinces, in different regions. We also will supply the solar panels for such schools, and it would be a great project for the closest 2 years, I think.
Can tourists come to Syria now? I mean, is it difficult to arrive in Syria from different parts of the world, and especially from Russia?
The easiest way to get to Syria is from Russia. In contemporary conditions, there are 2 direct flights in a week. From Damascus to Moscow and return. Now we got the information that a new line was established to Makhachkala from Damascus and Latakia to Makhachkala, so to Dagestan, with Cosmos Airlines. And another way to get to Syria from other parts of the world is through Beirut, because Beirut is the hub of the one of the hubs of the Middle East, and a lot of airlines continue to stop there. And then in 2 or 2.5 hours by car, you can get to Damascus from Beirut. Also, Damascus is connected to Emirates cities, not one. It's Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Sharjah, Qatar, Cairo, Tunis, and another, a little bit Middle Eastern capitals. So also Emirates are the bigger hub, world hub, connecting Damascus to the world.
And
regardless all the functions.
And do Syrians who would like to go to Russia often come to the Russian house in Damascus? And if yes, how do you usually help them to realize maybe their dreams to visit our country?
No, we are not a travel agency, first of all. We could help them to realize their dreams, to teach them Russian language, to give them some ideas about Russian culture, Russian traditions, even psychological features. By the way, we make the workshops for local businessmen on these issues. It's also very important. And two weeks ago, we took part in the forum of businessmen in Syria, in Damascus also, which we provided some knowledge to locals about how to make business with Russians. Of course, we have different business cultures, and sometimes it prevents the good deals, to make good deals between us.
And now I propose to turn to the questions of our followers. So the first question is, as we know, many Syrians, education in Russia is very popular among Syrians, and every year many students come to study in Russia. So the first question is, what Russian universities are the most popular among Syrian applicants?
Before the restart of the the Russian house in Damascus, the most popular direction was Moscow, St. Petersburg, as usual. As I mentioned today, we tried to reorientate the students, the potential students, to other regions of our country with the cheaper life, first of all, at the same with very good universities. The problem is the lack of knowledge about our country. So we made the educational presentations for the universities, and now we agreed or made with the agreements with a lot of, a dozen, I can say, of Syrian universities, private and state, to make such a company, of educational company for their students, just to tell about Russia, what does it mean, Russia, what is its dimension, what are the geographical areas there, and where are the good universities to study in.
So the next question is, what professions and specialities are in demand among Syrian applicants?
Well, first of all, it's medicine, all types of specialties. Then engineering, first of all, IT engineering. We can say that's all. You know, it's wide specialties when you are speaking about engineering. Yeah, I talk IT engineering. Yeah. So Syrians are very talented. You know that when we contact Russian universities where the Syrians are getting education now, all of them tell us that they are the top of the foreign students.
And where do the graduated students work afterwards? I mean, they work in the state organizations or in private?
Both, you know, it's a program of Syrian government to support, to grant the scholarships to those students who are going to Russia to study, and they obliged to return and to work in the state system. From other side, there are a lot of opportunities here because the economy of Syria is in need of well-educated specialists now. After the huge immigration during the war, this country lost about 6 million people as displaced persons. Okay, and those persons installed in Europe and Turkey and neighbor Arab countries. So we try to help Syrians to rise new generation of high quality specialists for the needs of the local economy.
And what is the approximate quantity of Syrians that try to enter our universities every year?
No, we have about 3,000 demands. Of course, we choose from them the best. At the same time, there are some private ways to start studying in Russian universities, because Russian universities has their own quotas, and we could control it, of course. But as for Russian house, before we sent about 500 every year, and now we sent more than 700. But we choose them from the 3,000 candidates.
Which means that the Russian education is really very popular.
Yes, of course. Oh, we must understand that now Russia is maybe the only country which provide education to Syrians, or can accept them, because other ways are closed. Before this war, most of Syrian specialists in different fields were educated in France, Britain, and Germany.
And
now we try to raise new generation of people who got education in Russia.
And in what period, I mean in summer or in spring, do these applicants should send their documents to Russia?
We start our campaign in September and finish it in February, March. It's for to register the applications. Then we make our job with the Russian Ministry of the Higher Education to distribute these candidates to the universities. So indeed, this work is lasting for 6 or more months in general. And now we have the period of rest. Now July and August is dead season in Syria, and before the beginning of this season, we completed all our job on this registering of these candidates, and now we are waiting for the 1st of September to start new campaign.
And how many graduates get back to Syria, or these people prefer to stay in Russia?
We have no statistics indeed. We know that some amount of people, the students, the most talented, of course, because they got the job and they got even the laboratories in the universities, continue to stay in Russia. At the same time, all these Syrians are patriots of their country, and then they contact with their colleagues in Syria. They make joint projects in the scientific fields, in the practical fields. Part of the Russian university alumni returns. but we don't know. We have no statistics, unfortunately, how much return and how much they stay continue to stay in Russia.
And how well developed is the alumni community of Russian universities in Syria?
There are a lot of, as I told you, a lot of alumni. In person, they are very active. There are businessmen, there are specialists, there are university professors. But as an organization, and they have their own association, they are not active. Unfortunately, during the years of war, they didn't work, they didn't gather. We made the Congress of Russian alumni 2 times in 2020 and 2021, and we'll try to make it the 3rd time this year in the autumn, and we try our best to reactivate this association because it's officially a registered organization in Syria, and it could be a good partner of Russian House here. But as I told, there are some problems. First of all, the leadership of this organization is very aged.
And if I understand, this community has all the trends, all the tendencies to restart the activity.
Yes. Now we are in the process of the renovation and helping the youth in the leadership of this organization. As I told, during the last 2 years we tried to reactivate it, and step by step became more active. They also take part in all our activities, but mostly in person, as I told. So we attract some specialists to make the lectures here, to make the workshops in different fields in the Russian House. So it's very useful, and we just make wider our net of the Soviet and Russian university alumni.
And were there any great projects maybe realized with the support of the graduates of the Russian universities? I don't mean within the framework of the Russian House activities. I mean in general in Syria.
Yes, most of them are working with the Russian business. A lot of Soviet and Russian university alumni are working in Russia. They are also professors, the researchers, and so on and so on. And they try to apply their invents and their results of their work in Russia in Syria.
And as I know, one of the Russian universities has recently signed the contract with the Russian House.
An agreement. Yeah.
Yes. Could you please tell us more about it?
No, the North Caucasian Federal University signed an agreement, a memorandum of cooperation with Syrian universities, not with Russian House. I think that our media just changed the meaning of the event. Our Russian House just the place we make the coordination, and we are the place for such meetings, and we coordinate these meetings because every assignment of such a memorandum or agreement or something else about the cooperation needs for a long routine work of preparation. And this is our job also.
It means that the list of the Russian universities that can welcome Syrian applicants has one more position, and it means that Syrian applicants has more opportunities to realize their professions.
Exactly. And we're also talking about the academy exchange, students exchange, and also the use of Russian laboratories, scientific laboratories by Syrian scientists. It's not only about the Syrian new students. It's about the more important things. As I told, this academic exchange.
And do the scientific conferences take place in Syria? I mean, how often maybe Russian delegations and Syrian delegations visit the countries, each other?
Well, first of all, Syria was isolated from other worlds for a decade because of the sanctions, because of the war, and Syria lost a lot of their researchers and scientists who immigrated first. Then, just during last 2 years also, we restarted to arrange the visits of Russian researchers. First of all, the Orientalists in Syria. There are Institute of Oriental Studies, the Institute of the World Economy, who visited Syria and made the conferences with the help of Russian House. We also, this year, we also arranged the medical conferences with the participation of Russian scientists and practitioners online. But anyway, it was very useful for local specialists. And till the end of this year, Russian Ministry of Higher Education and the Science intended to organize here a big conference. They also involved our Russian House in this process, in the organization and preparation of this conference, which is natural. So for different fields of knowledge, it would be medical sections, engineering sections, social sciences, political sciences, and so on. So we'll see. We just started this big project.
And would it be interesting, for example, if there would be any opportunities for Syrian youth to meet with our Russian specialists in different fields, I mean in professional activity? For example, if our specialists come to Syria to talk and to give their experience to Syrian youth.
Of course, such projects planned in future. Always don't forget the material side of all these projects. If we get money, we can do everything. That's why all these projects are a little bit slow. Anyway, just tomorrow, yes, after tomorrow, a group of Syrian youth will go to Stavropol. This is the North Caucasian Federal University for the summer school, IT summer school. At the same time, we're talking or making the negotiations with several Russian universities to bring their experts here in different fields and to arrange the conferences and the workshops. So the form of the workshops is more practical and more useful. After last visits of several Russian universities, we just got to such an agreement, and we are working on this.
I think it was a great discussion, and finally our live broadcast is coming to an end. Thanks to our followers for watching us, and I would like to say a special thank you to Nikolai for his story about the activities of the Russian house in Damascus, its plans and projects for the future, and we will be waiting for news from the Russian house. And this is all for today. Stay tuned and remember that Russia is always with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.